to join us. I'm Angela Birdsong. I'm your host every Wednesday morning. This is a weekly show. It's at 11 a.m. I'm here to talk about what's going on in Tampa politics. And I'm so happy because today we have someone you probably never heard of, but he's very important. He is one of our former state committeemen for the Hillsborough Democratic Party.
Yeah, hello.
His name is Russell Patterson. Yay! You know what? I don't always, not only do I talk to elected officials, I also talk to people who help get people elected, like you.
That's right.
But you know what? I always start at the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Port Arthur, Texas. That's southeast Texas.
You're a Texan.
That's right.
Born and raised.
Born and raised. Thought I'd end up there, but here I am in Florida.
Okay.
And I love it here.
So where did you go to school?
I went to the U.S. Air Force Academy and graduated there in 1974.
And then what did you do after that?
Well, I served in the Air Force for 20 years, and I got to see the world
Wow.
with the Air Force. Then
Did you see any action in there?
The only action
Combat?
I saw was when I was stationed in London when the IRA lobbed a mortar at the British Ministry of Defense. That was during the first Gulf War.
Oh.
So I saw no action. I was involved in refueling airplanes that were coming back from Iran in that bungled hostage rescue in 1980. That was rather sad.
Yes. Okay, so, and then after you left the armed services, what'd you do then?
Well, at the time, my wife was an artist, and she immigrated to Britain as a self-employed artist, and I got a job doing the logistics for a geological research group. And we did work in Spitsbergen, which is 600 miles north of Norway and 600 miles south of the North Pole. Did work in northeast Greenland.
That sounds chilly.
Oh, it was during the summertime.
Okay.
But it was still chilly, but I tell you, the hottest it ever was in Spitsbergen when it was 50 degrees outside. If there's no shade, the sun's just coming right down on you, and we're in shorts and T-shirts.
So how long did you do that for?
I did that for 4 years.
All right.
And somehow I got homesick for the U.S. of A. because I'd been out of the country from 1981 to 1999. And
you said, time to come home.
Yeah, came home to, unfortunately, the land of George W. Bush.
Okay. So, and you came right to Florida?
No, I moved back to Texas. And I was looking for jobs, and I saw an ad in the Dallas Morning News, of all things, that said, help elect progressives. So I didn't realize how easy it was to get on a campaign, because when you first start in a campaign, they're looking for hard-working people as fodder. And so I signed up for that and went to work at pretty low pay. And on a
But by then you were retired military.
I was retired military, so
Okay.
I had health care, and so I didn't have to
So
worry
you had a little
about that
freedom,
sort of stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
to be you.
And I
All
had
right.
savings, so I worked on a campaign in St. Louis, and I was working for a guy named Charlie Dooley, and he was running in a Democratic primary against Lacey Clay Jr., who happened to have been just beat by Cori Bush. Hooray, hooray, hooray.
Really?
This
Awesome.
last election. And after that, I worked on several campaigns in Connecticut and Rhode Island and Virginia Beach, Arkansas.
So you went all over.
Yeah, all over. And I ended up here in Florida doing a nonpartisan Get Out the Vote campaign. Well, actually, also while I was on the road, my first wife passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
That's rather sad. But the good thing is when I came here, one of the volunteers was a person that I ended up marrying a few years.
And you
after.
are still married to her today,
Yes.
Candy.
Yes, that's right.
Yes,
So-
because you're an inseparable pair.
Yeah. So it's very funny. After the election, I got a job with Equality Florida, and
Equality Florida.
which
Yes,
is a-
they're
which is
still
a gay-
strong.
which is a gay rights group
Okay.
founded by Nadine Smith, who used to be a reporter for the Tampa Tribune, and that group has grown and grown and grown since I actually left. But I worked for Equality Florida for 2 years. And while I was working there, one day I told somebody, oh, I'm getting married in October. And this was before men could marry men. And he said, well, how can you do that? And I said, well, I'm marrying a woman. And of course, everybody.
Oh, because they thought you were gay
they
because you
assumed that
because you volunteered for the gay people.
Well, actually, I was a paid person. I was being
I
paid
see. Okay.
to do that, and because Candy was a teacher, and I was sort of getting tired of working nights and weekends because that's what you have to do in politics, I decided to see if I could become a teacher. So I resigned from Equality Florida. I went to night school to get my teaching credentials, and during the daytime I substituted to find out if I liked kids.
I see.
And-
Okay, so Candy was teaching first, and then you followed her
I followed her, yeah.
in that profession.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I taught for 5 years. I taught as a full-time teacher for 5 years at King High School, teaching the intellectually disabled children.
Oh,
and
I
that was
see.
just a ball of fun. The kids were so lovely. The parents were so lovely. And I took a leave of absence because I wanted to be involved in the 2016 election to help get either Bernie or Hillary elected.
I see. Okay, 2016. That's not that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
We're getting up to the present.
Yeah, exactly.
And then after that, what did you do?
After that, I retired. I became a state committee. I ran for state committee man and somehow got elected.
Okay, so what year was that when you
That
won?
was at December of 2016 is when I ran for the election,
And you won.
and I won. Yeah, and it was a very interesting thing. So you had to do a lot of canvassing, or calling people up to get them to vote for you.
Okay. So you know what? When we come back from in the next segment, we're going to go over exactly what a state committee man is, how you get elected,
Sure.
and all the things that excuse me, the Democratic Party does behind the scenes that you are not aware of unless you're involved in it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
Wonderful. So right now, you get involved with things like the Kennedy King dinner, right?
Yes.
So, and how did Kennedy King dinner do last time?
They did really, really well. We had pretty much a record turnout. I sold this year I didn't sell as many as I had in the past, but I sold 40 tickets to get people to come and
That's
join
very
us.
impressive. How many
Yeah.
tables did you fill up?
It was 4 tables.
4 tables.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is one of the biggest fundraisers of the year for the
Correct.
Democratic Party in Hillsborough
Correct.
County, right?
Yes.
So when did that start?
It's been going on for quite some time. I know they had Kennedy King dinners back when I first got here, but
Okay.
they were much, much smaller and didn't raise as much money, because I think the leadership wasn't quite I don't know, it was just a different type of leadership.
Okay. Well, right now in leadership, we have Ione Townsend as the chair.
Yep, that's correct.
And we cannot forget Mr. Mark Hennessy, who is an awesome fundraiser.
Yeah, Mark, I got to know Mark when I ran for office in 2010, and he and I ran into him when I was visiting labor unions.
I
And
see.
he and I actually clicked, and he helped me out a lot too.
Now, you forgot to mention that you ran for office.
Yeah.
What office did you run for?
I ran for a state representative in 2010, and it was a lot of fun because I had worked on campaigns all over, so I knew about fundraising, I knew about voter contact, I knew about targeting, I knew about win numbers, I knew about you needed to have a plan,
Yes.
and
So all the things you did for others, you finally got the
I did
chance to do
myself,
it for yourself.
and I knew to save my money. So, but that was a lot of fun. And
Now, who did you actually run against?
I ran against Sean in the general election. I ran against Sean Harrison.
So you had a primary.
I did have a primary,
And who did you run with?
that was Chris Kano. who
Chris
I ran,
Kano.
yeah.
Okay, he's still around.
He's still around. He's a good activist and good progressive and a lot of things. So unfortunately, we ran against each other.
I see. So you got yourself to the general election against Sean Harrison.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean Harrison did go on to win that race and become a state
He
representative.
became a state representative. Then he ran again for re-election in somebody else, Michael Danish, ran against him, and Michael won that election.
Oh, he
Yeah, and
did.
then Sean Harrison ran again 2 years later and beat Michael Danish.
I see.
And then the next election, Fentress Driscoll ran against Sean Harrison and whooped his butt.
I see. Okay. So we are the person sitting in that seat right now is Miss Fentress Driscoll,
Yes.
our African American woman.
Yes.
I believe she's a Harvard grad,
She's Harvard grad.
attorney.
She's bright, smart. She's also a very nice person too. So I have a friend that worked in her office as a legal assistant and said that Fentress wasn't like a lot of the other lawyers as far as being better than.
She's a good person to work for.
She's a good person to work for.
I see.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. No. Well, only thing with Fentress is they are trying to draw her out of her district.
Yeah. Well, of course they want to do that because she is so good. She could be the governor of Florida. She could be U.S. senator. She could be a U.S. congresswoman. She is, as far as I'm concerned, is a really bright, hard-working, smart.
Yeah. She's our bench. She's part of our
Yeah.
bench.
Yeah.
Now that district, if I remember correctly, runs through Carrollwood,
Hmm.
New Tampa,
Yeah.
Lutz.
Yeah.
So if you happen to be in that district, you may want to try to support your leader there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because from what I understand, she lives off of Fletcher and Dale Mabry,
Hmm.
and they're trying to actually draw that part of the district out.
Yeah. Well, they do that sort of thing because I know I got drawn out of the district after the 2010 election.
You did.
Yeah. So I got put into my district. I was drawn out. Of course, they didn't know I was going to not run again.
Right. But of course, they do look at how many Democrats are
Yeah,
in each district,
exactly.
and they want to make it so that there's not enough Democrats for the Democrat to
Yeah.
win.
If I'd been in the district, maybe I would have run again. But fortunately, Michael Danish ran and won.
Good. Now, I don't think I know Michael Danish.
Yeah, he doesn't live here in the area now.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I don't know
He's
him.
a retired teacher also.
Okay. Now, also, another representative we have to watch out for is Diane Hart.
Yeah, Diane Hart is also somebody I really admire and like a lot. Before she became state representative, she was also a very, very hardworking activist.
In her community,
Yeah, and
feeding the people,
feeding the people, helping get people elected.
running the East Tampa. I think it's ETBCA, but she helped people get homes,
Yeah,
fix homes.
yeah,
Yes, so she has done a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
She's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Absolutely.
Yes, and she works on people who are incarcerated.
Yeah, I've put in a friend of mine who was formerly incarcerated in touch with Diane because this was a guy that was just the opposite. He was a white fellow that was a white supremacist when he went to jail.
Oh my
and
gosh.
he left jail as anti-racist. And his story,
You know, some of them do change their lives.
He changed
yes.
his life because one day he was at our house doing some work, and finally he said, "You don't know my story, do you?" And I knew he had drug addiction problems, which is what sent him to jail. And
Oh, the drugs that wouldn't send him to jail.
yeah,
Okay, and somewhere along the line, though,
yeah.
he turned his life around.
And for some reason, an elderly black man took him under his wings, and he somehow listened to this guy. So
Wow.
it's just unbelievable.
He could write a book.
Unbelievable story. And I passed his. I think he and Diane got in touch with each other.
Okay,
His
and
story
you're
is real
hoping
moving.
that she can help him
Yeah.
become a returning citizen.
Well, I think he is a returned citizen already.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, now, we also know that you help out with something called the Spring Fling.
yeah, that's a fundraiser for the Democratic Party, and
That's another big fundraiser.
it's a lot of fun, and I also ask people to buy tickets, and have been fairly successful with that too, with selling several dozens of tickets to that event.
Okay, so I'm bringing these things up. So next year, you folks, this year,
This year,
we're in a new year.
Yep.
So we're going to have another spring fling. We're going to have another Kennedy King dinner.
yeah, the Kennedy King dinner is going to be sometime in August. I don't know the exact date. It'll be before the primary.
I see.
And so, but that's going to be really important for after the primary is when we start giving money, contributing to candidates' campaigns.
I see. So you're going to raise money because before the primary, because after the primary, we're going to know who the candidates are.
That's right.
And then you can
And we
give
got to
money.
work our butts off to get them elected.
All right. Guess what? It's break time.
Yep.
That was a lot of information in
It
one
was.
segment.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be coming back shortly.
Ask me about my childhood too. To talk about.
Call Ricky, 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 Ricky. Ask Ricky, Ricky, Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for ya. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361 Rick. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361 Rick. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361 Rick. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky, 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 Ricky. Ask Ricky, Ricky, Ricky.
We're playing your favorite old school.
Nobody loves me better, makes me happy, makes me feel
Today's R&B
carrot magic in the air. Head to toe, so black.
with a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Hi, this is Angela Birdsong with Tampa Bay Politics. And not only can you catch us on InTouchNews.com every Wednesday at 11 a.m., we now have a website at TampaBayPoliticsPodcast.com. We are on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Stitcher, which you can log in at any time and listen to Tampa Bay Politics. Hi, this is Angela Birdsong, and I'm so proud to say I have my very first sponsor for Tampa Bay Politics. His name is Sam Cohen of Attorneys First. So if you are an attorney, please give him the opportunity to quote you for errors and omissions insurance. His number is 727-799-4321. That's 727-799-4321. Hello, we're back. You are listening to Tampa Bay Politics. I'm your host, Angela Birdsong. In the studio, I have with me Russell Patterson. He is one of our former state committeemen for the Democratic Party here in Hillsborough County. So happy that he is joining us. Yay! You know what? When did you actually start out in politics?
I was very lucky. My daddy took me to Democratic picnics and barbecues in East Texas, and I got to meet my congressman, Jack Brooks, who happened to be. I also met Sam Gibbons when I came here to Tampa, and Sam Gibbons told me how Jack Brooks and him were really close friends, and these two folks did some really good things for Lyndon Johnson in our great society. And so I met him, and I got to meet Senator Yarborough of Texas, because we did different picnics, and then I was in Boy Scouts, and when they dedicated a new post office, I was on the honor guard to raise the flag and got to meet. I think that's when I met Ralph Yarborough. But then I volunteered for Hubert Humphrey when I was in the 10th grade in high school when he
Did you
ran
get
for
to
president.
meet Hubert Humphrey?
Yeah, I did. Never
Wow.
did. Actually, I did get to meet Hubert Humphrey.
All right.
But that wasn't. But that was when I was a little bit younger. When he was vice president, he was in San Antonio, Texas, and Daddy and Mama had taken us to San Antonio, and we ran across him there and got to shake his hand,
Wow.
which was really, really pretty cool. You know, so I was in junior high school when that happened. So that was
Wonderful.
pretty cool. So you know, I made phone calls.
So
and
all these
stuffed
things helped
envelopes.
shape your life because
Yeah.
you knew you were on that political track
Yeah.
from a very young
In
age.
in a way, yeah, that's exactly right. And I had an uncle that was a state representative in Missouri. So
Okay, so
Yeah.
you had someone in politics that
so-
you were close to in your family.
That's exactly right. But when I went off into the Air Force, it all stopped.
I see, because you cannot be political.
can't be
well, you're not
political.
supposed to be
Yeah,
anyway.
You're not supposed to be. And I really wasn't. You know, I would talk up progressive ideas about different health care and that sort of stuff, especially national health care. I remember one time I was in the squadron and I was saying, you know, we need to have national health care. And somebody said, well, that's socialism.
Wow.
And I said,
we call it Medicare
yeah,
now.
I know. And I said, and I actually said, so?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yes,
I
really,
mean,
truly,
Social Security.
I'd like everybody
Why
to
does it
have
start off with the word social?
Yeah, exactly. I wish everybody had the same health care I had or have already, because I have Medicare and then I
Yes.
have TRICARE for life. And so almost all my health care bills are, you know, I pay $170 a month to Medicare,
Okay.
and my wife pays $170 a month to Medicare.
For January, yes, I
For-
know because I'm the
'cause
Medicare lady,
it's
and
also-
your Part B premium for all of you who are 65 and over is $170
Yeah,
monthly.
that's what I pay for that there, and then, but I don't have to do the Medicare Advantage, the Medicare supplement.
don't need a
because
supplement.
I have the military retirement health care plan, TRICARE for life.
Wonderful.
So if every American had that,
if
wouldn't-
every American had great health care through the government, that would be a wonderful
yeah,
thing.
I got to tell you, I had a bad accident back in 2005. I broke my neck,
Oh my gosh, that
and
is
it
bad.
was in a swimming accident in Delaware, and it only cost me about $30. I had an ambulance ride to the hospital. I had X-rays and MRIs.
And it cost you $30.
And then I had a helicopter ride from one hospital to another hospital and stayed there. It cost me almost nothing. I think I had to pay that for my food.
God bless
And,
America.
you know, and so if I hadn't had that, it could have bankrupted us,
That's right.
you know. So, you know, like, and then my wife had something serious happen, and we get the bill from the insurance paid everything for her, but we got a bill from the hospital saying this was $250,000.
Oh my
And-
gosh.
And Medicare and TRICARE paid
Big-
20 some odd thousand bucks, which I thought was really high because she was only in the hospital for less than 48 hours.
My gosh.
It's just, it's criminal
Unbelievable.
to be that. And if people don't have insurance, they'd be afraid to go to the hospital to get stuck with, you know, $20,000 or a $250,000
Well, I
bill.
know you're a big supporter of Bernie, and I get it because he
Yeah.
is all about getting health care for people.
Absolutely.
Now, tell me this. Let's talk about how you become a state committee man.
Okay.
First of all, what is the DEC?
That's called the Democratic Executive Committee. But a better word for it would be just say the Hillsborough County Democratic Party.
Okay.
That's really and truly what the DEC is.
Is.
It's just the Hillsborough County Democratic Party.
All right. For those of you who don't know, the meetings are the third Monday of every month at 6
Mm-hmm.
o'clock. They're still on Zoom,
Yes.
but you can go to HillsboroughCountyDemocrats.org and sign
And you
up.
can sign up. They have something called Mobilize, and that's on that website, and you can find out all sorts of different things to do. Like I believe on Mobilize, there's you can sign up to go march in the Martin Luther King Day Parade,
Excellent.
which is coming up.
It is.
In le-
So is the
in less
Martin
than a
Luther
week.
King breakfast. I
That's
hope
right.
you all do that through TOBA,
Yep.
TOBA.
Yep. And you can sign up to go to the courthouse tomorrow for the
Tomorrow is January the
Vig-
6th.
and we're having a vigil for
It is
democracy.
the 1 year anniversary of the insurrection.
Yeah, that was so frightening. I had friends in Europe that would contacted me, and they just couldn't believe it.
They could not
They just
believe
couldn't
that
believe this
happened
was-
in the United
yeah.
States of America.
You know, we're supposed to be
The shining
the
light,
shining light of
on the hill.
democracy, and here we
Yes.
are. That they say, Donald Trump says you can't trust the courts, you can't trust the elections, you can't trust election officials, you can't trust the voting machines.
You can't trust
but,
the media.
But you can trust me.
Right.
What's wrong with that?
What is wrong with
You know,
that?
you can't
so
trust
listen,
anybody but him.
The Democratic Executive Committee, also known as the Hillsborough Democratic Party, elects our state committee
Yes.
men and women.
That's right. They're elected by the members of the party. To be a member of the party, you need to be either elected or appointed as a precinct committee person. A precinct committee person is the basic person to try to organize I would call it, your precinct is your neighborhood, basically.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because if you go to the Hillsborough Democratic Party, the first thing they're going to ask you to do is be a precinct captain.
That's correct. Precinct captain, precinct committee man, precinct committee woman. But it's a precinct captain is what it is. And what you do is you try to organize your neighborhood to let people know that the Democrats are here, and find out what their issues are, what concerns them, and try to get them involved.
So you would say the average precinct has about how many people in it?
My precinct has about 600 to 700 people, Democrats in it.
Okay.
Some precincts have a lot more than that.
And some have a lot less.
And some have a lot less. I know my first precinct in Tampa, it had only like 30 people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was real easy.
We would encourage you
Yeah.
to come to the Democratic Party meeting.
Yep.
and become a precinct
Yes,
captain. It is not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's a volunteer job, and if we do the elections every 4 years, but you could also be appointed, and being appointed is you just raise your hand and say, "I'd like to do this."
Anytime, come on down to the meeting.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is you have to be a committee.
A precinct committee person.
You have to be a precinct captain in order to vote.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
So people step forward and say, "Hey, I want to be a state committee
man or state committee woman."
You can only have one of each, right?
That's right. Have one man and one woman each. And what the people that are running for that job do is then they start campaigning to the electorate, which is the precinct committee people.
Which is all those precinct captains, and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, vote for me."
Yeah. And so and then the other people that also get the vote are elected officials. The
I
Democratic
see.
elected
So
officials.
anyone who's elected in Hillsborough County,
yeah, so
they have a vote.
So our county commissioners that are Democrats can vote. Our city councilors that are Democrats can vote. The city councilors in Temple Terrace and in Plant City and in Tampa, they can vote.
I
the
see.
constitutional officers, such as Cindy Stewart and Nancy Milan and Bob Enriquez.
So that's your tax collector.
All those folks. Julianne Holt,
That's your prosecutor.
and the mayor of Tampa can vote.
I see.
So
As
all
long
the-
as they're Democrats.
Yeah, and each person
And elected.
Yeah, and each person has one vote, and so what happened is I lobbied all these folks, and I convinced them that I was the best candidate, and it was a close election, but I won, and
Yeah, I can't remember who you ran against.
it was against Alan Clendenin.
Alan Clendenin. Okay,
Yeah.
he's a big mover and shaker
Yeah,
in
he's
the
a big
Democratic.
mover, and he has a lot of influence in Florida. He does a lot of good things.
But and how long did you stay as state committee man?
I stayed for 4 years. My aim was to help make the Florida Democratic Party more democratic, which was in reality was to lessen the power of individual state committee men and state committee women, because Hillsborough County has a lot of Democrats and is a fairly large county. I had a pretty big weighted vote, so my vote for the Hillsborough County State Committee man was multiples of Polk County or Pasco County State Committee man or State Committee woman. So if Hillsborough, instead of had one State Committee man, had several, it'd be more democratic. So you wouldn't have just one white guy
And when you say democratic, you want to say more fair.
More fair,
Yes.
small d democratic
I see.
is what I mean.
So I tell you what, when we come back in the next segment, we can go over exactly what a state committee man and woman can do
Okay. Yeah.
for the party.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming back.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Hello, Tampa Bay. This is Ainsley Doe with Florida Realty Unlimited. As a broker with 15 years experience and a veteran of the Navy, I do understand your needs. Real estate prices are up. So if you're thinking of selling your home, call me for a free market analysis. If you're planning to buy a home, please call me for a free buyer's consultation. For more information, call Ainsley Doe at 813-546-1954. Once again, the number is 813-546-1954. Or check my ad out in the In Touch You.
In Touch Radio. In Touch Radio. In Touch Radio.
We are back. This is Angela Birdsong, your host every Wednesday over here at In Touch News. I do a little show called Tampa Bay Politics. And today I'm so happy to have in the house with us Russell Patterson. And he is a former state committee man for the Hillsborough County Democrats. Okay, so Russell, let's get into what a state committee man actually does and what the things you were able to accomplish.
Well, some of the things the state committee man does, and I personally believe does, is help the local party out. And by that, it means helping candidates out. And by that, when I would help a candidate out, I'll sit down with a candidate, go over a campaign plan, talk about a campaign plan and what needs to be done. I'll also share with them phone numbers and people they should be in touch with to help them out for more advice.
Good Democrats who
and-
might be willing to help.
and also to help raise money too. So I apologize to all those folks that I gave their phone numbers to that get these fundraising phone calls, but that's really and truly the nature of politics. Because you got to have money to be able to pay for the flyers that you pass out.
Yes.
You got to have money to pay for the signs that you want to have on the road or in people's yards. You got to have money to buy T-shirts.
That's
You
right.
know,
Everything
you gotta
costs
have,
money.
You gotta, nothing is free anymore, which is too bad. And frankly, the jobs that require the least amount of money but still needs it is state representatives and city councilors and all that. But when you're trying to reach 150, 200,000 people, you can't talk to them all.
That's true.
So you
need
gotta be,
billboards,
you gotta be-
advertising. Yes.
You got to be smart in the way that you get with them.
Social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people out there, that we call them consultants, that want your money.
That's right.
They want your candidate's
Campaign
money.
managers and consultants cost money.
Well, and a campaign manager, and I always tell folks that I think it's smart if you can afford to have just one campaign manager that's working just for you, because a campaign is a 24/7 job.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Of course, you know that
it's
because
relentless.
you ran for county commissioner, so
I did.
you understand that sort of thing. And I when I ran for office, I hired Ella Coffey as my campaign manager.
Oh, I see. And Ella Coffey is
she's
still with the Democratic Party, and she's a mover and a shaker.
She's a mover and shaker, and she did a really good job for me and worked very, very, very hard.
Okay.
But I can tell a story about Ella later on,
All right.
which is kind of funny. But also the other thing a state committee man does on a local party is help the party raise money and by selling tickets to the Kennedy King dinner and selling tickets to the spring fling.
Okay.
And the other thing is to help organize get out the vote activities and all that. Now, on the state level, what I did is I was involved in writing rules for the party, and I was very interested in making the party more democratic, small d democratic. And
So that's we are a very large county,
Yeah.
Hillsborough County. So
Yeah.
you wanted our votes to have more weight
I wanted our votes to have more people,
and more people.
more people voting rather than me. I was working to make my power less, so that more people in Hillsborough County could share the power
Because
with me.
how it is right now is it's only one
I have-
committee woman.
and one committee man, and back when I was there, I had, I believe, 38 votes, but somebody from Polk or Pasco County had like 5 or 6 votes.
I
And
see.
so what way that happens is when the state committee man and state committee women, they elect the party chair, which right now is Mr. Diaz, Manny Diaz. And
Okay, let's not gloss over that. Manny Diaz was elected to be the Democratic Party leader for the state of Florida.
that's correct. And he was elected by state committee men and state committee women.
So that's an important vote you had.
It's a very important vote. And,
Yes.
and the way that works is the big counties in South Florida, Hillsborough County and Pinellas, I think it just like 7 counties could elect the leader.
Okay, so those big counties have enough
They
votes
have enough votes to.
that if they were all in unison, that's
right.
enough to get the
That's
guy
exactly
over.
right. And so if there were more state committee men and state committee women, it would be harder to have that block.
I see. You want to break up the block.
Because I know when I was state committee man, the state committee woman and I often split our vote. So she'd vote yes and I'd vote no, or I'd vote yes and she'd vote no.
Well, wouldn't that kind of cancel you
Yeah,
out?
exactly. But if there was, instead of just 2 of us, and if we had 10 of us, 5 each, it wouldn't matter quite so much. You could have a different
So you
combination.
wanted
of yes and
Hillsborough
no's.
County to have more people.
Yeah.
All right. Now, right now, who are our state committee man and woman for
Our
Hillsborough County?
State committee man is Marcus Klebe, and the state committee woman is Vanessa Lester.
Okay.
And Vanessa Lester is another, well, both of them are really outstanding activists, but Vanessa, she's an African-American woman too, and a really another fantastic activist, and maybe one day she might be the party chair.
Okay,
Hillsborough
all right.
County.
Right
But
now,
that's-
she
state committee
does a
woman.
lot
She does a
for
lot.
Hillsborough County Democrats,
Yes.
and she's also in the Democratic Black Caucus,
Yeah.
and she was in the Progressive Caucus too.
Yeah. She probably still.
I think she
probably
still
is.
Yes.
I-
So just so you know, the Democratic Party has a lot of clubs and caucuses
That's right.
represented.
And it's that's a way to get involved also, because they have location area Democratic parties like the New Tampa Democratic Party, Temple Terrace Area Democratic Party,
Which you're a part of.
Yeah, North Tampa Democratic Party, South Tampa Democratic Party, South Shore Democratic Party, Plant City Democratic Party, East Hillsborough kind of Democratic Party. Then you have interest groups such as the Progressive Caucus of Tampa Bay, the LGBTQ Democratic Party caucus. You've got the Labor Caucus. You've got the Veterans Caucus.
Women,
You've got the
Caribbean.
Women's Caucus, the Caribbean Caucus, the Environmental Caucus, the Teachers Caucus.
Did we say one that reflects you yet?
So there are a lot
If not, we'll make one up.
and you can go to Hillsborough County Democratic Party.org and find one of these parties.
Hillsborough County Democrats.org.
.org. That's right. And you can find something that you might want to be involved in, especially, because when I was state committee man, I was a member of several caucuses, but now I'm just in parties. So now I'm just a member of the Progressives, the Temple Terrace, LGBTQ, and East Hillsborough. And I'm still a member of East Hillsborough because I joined them as a lifetime member several years ago.
Okay. That's a lot of meetings right
that's a
there,
lot of
but
meetings.
God bless
and
you.
I don't go to the East Hillsborough because the meeting time is difficult for me. So
Okay. Well, these clubs and caucuses are very, very important.
it's a lot of fun. It's a good social event, but it's also a good way to learn about people. We've had different candidates come in. We've had, for Temple Terrace Democrats, we've had Habitat for Humanity come talk with us. We've had candidates come talk with us, city councilmen talking with us, county
And you're in the
commissioners.
Temple Terrace
Yeah,
caucus.
school board member come chat with us.
Yes, because those clubs and caucuses are the movers and shakers, the people who are doing things in
Yeah,
the community.
yeah.
And if you want volunteers for the campaign, that's a good place to
It's a
go.
very good place, because I know when I ran for office, we didn't have Temple Terrace area Democrats then, but we had the East Hillsborough Democrats.
I see. That's
and
when you
had the
started out.
LGBTQ Democrats were the two caucuses that helped my campaign out the best.
Okay. So another way you can get involved is work on a campaign.
Exactly right. And campaigns really and truly rely on volunteers, but it's also a good way to learn about running for office yourself. You know, if you want to run for office, I think it's a good first step is to volunteer for a campaign so you can see firsthand some
And you
of the
know
blood,
what? We
sweat,
know
and
that
tears.
everybody can't be the candidate.
Not everybody can't be a
Everybody
candidate.
can't. But you know what? It's a team effort.
It is. And a candidate really and truly is a 24/7 job as a candidate. The only time I know when I took time off was on Sunday morning to go to church. And that was.
And
that
I
was-
didn't even take that off because at Sunday morning I was at somebody's church.
Yeah, okay. And I did go to church. I also went to other churches too on,
Yes,
on
yes,
Sunday mornings, but
yes.
I sometimes really needed to go to my own
Right, right.
just to take a
Take
breath.
a breath. Take a breath.
Because you really truly are.
It's a sprint and a marathon combined.
It's both, absolutely. It's absolutely, and you can't put things off, because if you don't do it, come election day,
You
it's
feel
finished.
bad. It's
you know,
finished.
stuff you didn't do that you
Yes,
should have done.
right.
It's never that you can't make it up. So
Now we know that we live in a what I call a blue bastion.
yes, and it's because the Democratic Party in the last several years the leadership has really stepped up to organize and raise money and recruit candidates and help candidates.
Yes, so
Which-
we're happy to say that for the Board of County Commission there are 7 members. How many are Democrats? 5. That's
right.
majority.
That's right. When I first came to Florida in 2004, I think it was just the opposite.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it didn't change until 2018.
Yeah. When I ran in 2010, Hillsborough County Democratic Party had just a few $1,000s in the bank. Now we're approaching $500,000 in the bank.
That is
When-
a big change.
And
That's real money.
And also, we were a lot more organized. When I first went to the Democratic Party meetings, I said, "These people are crazy."
Oh.
And I didn't have a thing to do with them for a while. And later on, I became, with my work with Equality Florida, I became friends with Pat Kemp, and she invited me to come back to the party.
Wonderful. And Pat Kemp, happy to say, is one of our county commissioners today.
That's right. And she's like several of our county commissioners are true to their roots as far as being an activist in the past. And so
Pat Kemp has such a deep resume because
Yes.
she was also an aide
she's
to
an
a
aide
county
She's
commissioner.
an aide to Kathy Castor.
Kathy Castor, who is our state representative right now.
That's correct.
And they're trying to mess around with
Yep.
Kathy Castor's
Yeah,
district right
yeah.
now.
Well, what they're doing is, I understand they're splitting the city of Tampa up into more than one congressional district, which I think is in violation of the Fair Districts Constitutional Amendment that we did.
My goodness. Well, we need to talk about Tallahassee.
Yeah, we can do that.
What's going on
All
up
right.
there and in state politics when we come back, because it's already time for another break.
Okay. Well, I look really washed out.
Hi, this is Angela Birdsong, and I'm so proud to say I have my very first sponsor for Tampa Bay politics. His name is Sam Cohen of Attorneys First. So if you are an attorney, please give him the opportunity to quote you for errors and omissions insurance. His number is 727-799-4321. That's 727-799-4321.
4321.
Cancer affects everyone, but minority populations are often hit hardest. Moffitt Cancer Center is working to address the barriers that keep some groups from getting the care they need. African Americans develop cancer at a younger age, have more aggressive cancers, and experience worse outcomes than the general population.
While cancer treatment is evolving with precision medicine, who is being left behind? We know for many decades that some groups experience a greater burden of cancer than others. We can prevent it, we can detect it early. It's very beatable when we find it early. I have worked with cancer patients during their treatment. All cancer patients have courage.
So my treatment was about 18 months. I had 3 cancers and 7 surgeries. But my son told me, like, Mom, you're the strongest person that I know. Moffitt saved my life.
During COVID-19, Moffitt is a safe place for your cancer care. Call now to schedule an appointment.
For all your national and local entertainment news, not to mention your favorite smooth soul and R&B flavors, log on to the letter N-touchnews.com.
Hello. This is actually our last segment already of Tampa Bay Politics. And I'm your host, Angela Birdsong, talking with Russell Patterson. He is a former state committee man for Hillsborough County Democrats.
Yes.
Now, I did mention that that Hillsborough County is blue, Pinellas County is blue, but the rest of the state is primarily red. And that means that our state house and our state Senate have a majority red Republican.
That's correct.
And that has been a big issue. Plus, our governor is very red.
Our governor makes Donald Trump seem reasonable almost.
I know. It's getting kind of crazy. And plus, we know he doesn't really want to be governor. He really wants to be president.
Well, he's playing to his base is what he's doing.
Yes. So how do you think that we can change the situation from the state level?
If I knew the answer to that, I'd be a high-priced political consultant.
I have an idea. Vote blue as much as you can.
Absolutely. And I think we need to talk up things that can be done with that. We need to talk up our public schools. We need to talk up about our public transportation and our public health. We need to be more caring, I guess, and I think we need to, somehow I think we need to stop saying the T word.
Oh, the ex-president.
I really do.
But you know what you're saying, I agree with. We have to stick to the issues, the bread and butter issues that people care about.
I think stick to the issues, but also be emotional about it, because the Republicans are pretty darn emotional about,
like CRT, which does not exist in public schools, in America.
But I know when I was teaching, I taught about Harriet Tubman, and I taught about Rosa Parks, and I taught about a lot of young African American kids that were leaders back many years ago and today, and that's not talking about critical race theory. That's really just bringing history up. And if they don't want us to talk about the Arkansas, school bombings in Birmingham,
slavery, segregation, Jim Crow.
If somebody says, "Oh, slavery wasn't all that bad," then you should ask them, "Well, can I have your child and give it to somebody else?"
I know.
That's
what happened in slavery.
That's slavery.
That is absolutely right. Families were broken up. Children were sold.
Yeah. And so that's just
that's
for
reality.
For us to ignore that, I think is really wrong.
The thing is with CRT, it's being used to get votes.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you walked outside right now and said, "Tell me what is CRT," and you asked 5 people, you would get 5 different reasons or 5 different definitions.
Yeah.
Because the real definition of CRT is it teaches that systemic racism had an effect on black people.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
But it's only taught at the college level. However, our governor just said that we need to take it out of public schools, and it's not
but
there.
it's not in there. But you see, I understand that, after World War II, my daddy was able to buy a house with a loan guaranteed by the government, which was much harder for a black veteran to be able to buy that because they had
perfect
racism
example
built in
of
that.
systemic
like
racism.
Levittown in Pennsylvania and all these other areas, they had these restrictions that black people couldn't move into there. And the same thing was going for the GI Bill. White guys were able to go to college on the government's dime, but black people couldn't go to college on the government dime. And that's
And
part,
at some point that did change, but
it has changed.
Yeah, it has changed, but I see what you're saying.
Up until the 60s.
Back in the day, yes.
And Social Security the same way. People that worked on farms didn't pay into Social Security. People that worked as servants in people's houses didn't pay Social Security.
They didn't pay into the FICA taxes.
Exactly. So that also helped keep a lot of people down.
People were trapped in bad neighborhoods,
Exactly.
redlining.
Exactly.
I mean, all these things had a huge effect.
Yeah. And urban renewal did the same thing in the 60s where they destroyed black districts.
Absolutely. The highways came through, including downtown Tampa.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Talk about Dobyville from what that was before my time here. But
but that's where the slaves actually lived.
And there was a thriving community there, but evidently Tampa had a rule that if a house in Dobyville burned down, they couldn't rebuild it as a house.
Oh my gosh, there were so many horrible rules and regulations to keep black people down.
Sad things, but I think one of the things we need to remember that the Democratic Party, while not perfect, is going to help African Americans more than any Republican Party is going to do.
Well, I mean, I think the Republicans have made their position clear.
Yeah.
They are for the rich.
Absolutely.
They want tax cuts.
That's right.
They don't. Now they're not here to help the poor.
Yeah. Well, there was a woman, African American woman named, I can't think of her first name, McGee, and she writes about why we can't have nice things in the United States. Nice things like national health care, nice things like good public transportation and all that. And a lot of that is due to racism, because back when black people couldn't get anything, we had public transportation in the cities. We had a lot of good public transportation for white people. We had good sports facilities for white people. And then all of a sudden, when black people, they just cut it all out.
Yes, as soon as the neighborhood goes down, the services are cut off.
Yeah, and that's wrong.
And it happened. I saw it happen in New York City. That's where I am from.
So,
well, the only thing I can say is that we're having a race for governor coming up.
Yep.
Please vote. We don't know who our gubernatorial candidate is going to be yet, but it's either going to be Charlie Crist or Nikki Fried.
That's right.
I hope that one of them picks Annette Taddeo as their running mate. That's my hope. So we can get the Latin vote in there.
Yeah.
You can vote in these races. We got
right.
Val Demings running.
Val Demings running for U.S. Senate.
U.S. Senate. And
it'd be good to see her send little Marco.
And she is against Marco Rubio, and she's going to give him hell.
Yeah.
Amen. Vote for her. Now, we do have something called the DCCC.
Yeah, that's the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, and that's on a federal level, and that committee helps people that are running for Congress raise money.
Yes.
It's
so they'll
something
help people like Val Demings.
That's right. They would, that would be the Democratic DSCC, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee.
Okay, because she's running to be a senator. Yes,
so
not a House rep.
So either one of those would help, and for people running for the DCCC would help Kathy Castor.
Run
for
our state
Congress.
reps.
And the DCCC would help the folks that are running for Charlie Crist's seats over in Pinellas County once they get past the primary.
Okay. Just so everyone knows, the Democratic Party cannot help people who are running in primaries.
That's correct.
Because a mother cannot pick out her favorite child.
Yeah. That's in theory. That's correct. That's
right?
correct.
So
Yeah.
once a person wins the primary, then they can get help
They get
from the
help.
party.
That's right. So I think like when you ran for county commissioner, the party gave you some money.
A little bit.
Yeah, a
but
little
they
bit.
thought I was going to lose. So
Yeah,
that
that's
didn't
right. Yeah,
work out well.
that's the sad thing. That's the sad. But if you run again,
If I run
think,
again.
I think you have a better chance because that district is Democrat plus several. So I think you have a better chance for
Yes.
that. And
Redistricting, which we just went through for the Board of County Commission,
Yeah.
did come out in favor of a Democrat
Yeah.
in the district that I ran
right.
in against Ken Hagan.
That's right. And that Ken Hagan, I sometimes call him part of the Confederate Four because they're the
He
ones.
was.
And Ken Hagan also was the guy that appointed Terry Kemple to the Human Rights Campaign or Human Rights Council in Hillsborough County, and Terry Kemple is an extremely right-wing,
Confederate
you know.
person.
Yeah. So there's,
Just so people can remember, the Confederate Four were the four county commissioners who wanted to keep a Confederate monument in front of our county courthouse.
Yeah.
So as you're walking into the halls of justice, you get to see a Confederate in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay? So the only one left out of that four would be
Ken
Hagan.
Yeah. And we need to retire him.
So we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So we don't have much time left.
Mm-hmm.
So we do want to get in that, hey, if you are at all interested in getting involved in your party.
Oh yeah, there's a phone. We passed out the website, which is HillsboroCountyDemocrats.org.
Yes.
You can just Google Hillsborough County Democrats, and then
It'll
it'll
come
give.
up.
Then
Yes.
then you don't have to worry about spelling it. But the phone number, we do not have an office, so it'll be a
Right
voicemail.
now.
Right now, we'll be getting an office again, but right now the phone number is 813-512-6914,
Say
and
that
you can leave a
again.
voicemail there.
Say that one more time.
813-512-6914.
Okay, I would also be remiss if I didn't tell you that your Hillsborough County Supervisor of Elections is someone you should be in touch with.
Oh yes, that's right.
You should know your precinct.
Yep.
Yes, if you move, he will help you find your precinct.
That's right. And you could do that also online with just Google Hillsborough County SOE.
Okay, yeah, for supervisor elections.
Yeah.
And we got some new election laws that are in place right now for the state of Florida.
Yeah. I don't know. I vote by mail. I voted by mail almost my whole life. I think I voted in person maybe 4 times.
Okay.
Because I was in the military and I lived overseas. And
Well, COVID was the first time I voted by mail.
Yeah.
It went, my mother and I, and it went very well.
Mhm.
Now, the thing is, they want everybody who's going to vote by mail to register yearly instead of
Yeah,
every other year.
that's right.
So if you are going to vote by mail, make sure you are registered with the county,
Yeah,
and then so your ballot will go out to you.
that's right.
They're not going to have as many drop boxes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pick up your friends' ballots.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's illegal now.
Yeah.
You can only pick up a family member.
members,
Yeah.
It's rather sad.
We know who they're going after.
Mhm. Yeah.
We know.
Mhm.
And it was going to be even more draconian, but the governor wasn't able to get all the horrible things
Mm-hmm.
through. But they are trying to suppress the Democratic vote.
Oh, absolutely. I know they wanted to do away with Souls to Sunday.
Sold to the polls.
Yeah.
They want.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if they could get rid of souls to the polls, they certainly would.
Yeah. So
Because a lot of black churches
Yeah,
vote
'cause
on
I think
that
that's a
day.
really great idea. Kind of make it like a party. You
It's
go,
not a great
all go-
idea for
all go-
Republicans, though.
All go out to vote. So, or sort of like I think in Georgia they said, "Oh, you can't give water and food."
I know. We need a Stacey Abrams here in Florida.
We do.
We need Stacey.
Well, maybe Val Demings is it.
Maybe Val Demings. I mean, that woman is on fire.
Yeah.
She spoke at the Kennedy King dinner, and
Yeah.
nobody can talk after Val Demings. Because she just lights
She
the
was good.
house up.
She was good. She was good.
If you ever get the opportunity to see her speak, please do.
Yeah,
Please do.
I agree. And the three candidates for governor also were very, very moving.
Yes, we had all the gubernatorial candidates who showed up. Nikki Fried.
Yeah, Nikki Fried.
We had Charlie Crist. Charlie Crist is an excellent
Yeah.
all-around politician.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's won it once.
Mhm.
So maybe he could do it again. I don't know.
That's right. Maybe so. Well, I remember when he was governor as a Republican, the only people that clapped when he gave the state of the state were the Democrats.
Are we running out of time, sir? Oh, it's hard to believe.
Oh,
Bezel
yeah,
says it's time.
Yes, 20 seconds past.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. You know, time flies when you're having fun. See ya next week. Same time, same bat station.
Thanks. Right,